Bought a red pot in game 3, which is a little different, and he bought a blue pot in game 4, and it has not worked out for SHC. Do you think he'll change it up for this game?
I think he has to. I think Mixer in those two games, once again, they've shown how strong, how strong they were in lane.
Yeah.
Early game, but it didn't translate to advantages. And I think Mixer has to adapt, otherwise he's going to give Candy Panda another free ride into the next stages of the game. And after all the talk of Mundo, they've given it away.
They do, but as Jat and Peke have been saying, that trinity of top laners won't get banned out. This time it goes on to either side, so there's a bit of evenness to the balance there. But who is going to be on it more? Freddy has been comfort picking on Mundo more, trying to get that when he can. And he has been winning against the Shiv lane.
He has, and I also think that taking Elise away from Impaler is a great move as well. It fits Svenskaren's playstyle. It fits early ganking. It fits mobility.
Right.
And it suits his type of gameplay. I also think Ziggs is probably going to be the pick. Because Oriana's locked in, the Ziggs versus Oriana matchup, it went well for Jesus. He played it in the previous game. He's going to be comfortable doing it now and looking to have the same impact. We may even see like a Jinx Taric if you want to go for a slightly different version of that all-in. Or we could also see Candy Panda going to the Sivir fallback. I mean, 280 carries banned here as well. They also took away Nif's Annie.
It's funny, Sona getting banned out after being played, just seeing that poke, the cold income, the sustain. Played very well in lane. We'll see if the Zyra comes out once again. The Annie, as you said, was banned. Could be that Taric. Could be something else. These guys have been pulling out.
I was excited about the Zyra pickup, but Zyra never got a chance to have an impact in the game because Super Hot Creatures got blown up before any counter engage could even get into place, So I don't think Zyra's going to be the pickup. Mixer might go back to Thresh. It was pretty effective for them. I think he had landed a lot of good hooks in lane, but they just didn't coordinate well enough to actually close them out.
Nice moves coming in with a pickup on Lee Sin, so that'll be going to Impaler. I haven't seen him on that yet.
First time this series. Yeah. Also, so they're swapping junglers. All right, so that's an interesting thing here. Sven has played Lee, Impaler has played Elise. Now they're swapping to see who's impactful. The thing is, Impaler's early ganks have not been impressive, albeit the champions he was running may be a factor in that. Now he's on an earlier ganking champion. If SK Gaming do not adjust to that, do not wrap their minds around, hey, Impaler and Svenskaren are always in the same area at the same time, but now he's got a champion that can have an impact pre-6. It's something we have to keep our eyes open for.
All right. Very interesting what they may decide to pick up here. With the way that they played it before, you also said that Jesus didn't have much of an impact. So is that going to be okay, or does he have to step up this game?
He has to. He has to play exactly the same way he did in the previous game. And now, this is two reasons I like this. Number one, the all-in potential plus the damage combined with Mega Inferno Bar Mundo Release is great. It also forces Mixer to basically avoid Sona, because you don't want to pick a Sona into a Leona. That's going to be hard insta-give. So I really like that pickup. So I also think it rounds out the composition really, really well. You've got a lot of hard CC in conjunction with the soft CC and slows, as well as the bursts. So
without as much of a team that really represents tanks, you think SHC is going to be able to stop what happens coming in from SK? The games have been going late. Last game was super definitive because of having both Shyvana and Mundo. But if this one goes longer, do they have that potential still?
In terms of scaling, I feel like SK Gaming probably will outscale Super Hot Crew.
Okay.
However, the Mundo versus Shyvana matchup from game 1 still rings true because Mima really made a very big impact. So I think what we're going to see in this matchup is Svenskaren putting some additional love and time in the top lane to try and get Freddy on a roll and try to control Mima, because I feel like that's probably the key. That's the hinge in this match.
Right.
If you can have Shyvana running through a fight, landing a shockwave, SK are in trouble.
And there's SK on your screen, poised and ready. We heard very calmly at the end of last game. One more time exactly like that, but there was also stress in that voice.
Yeah. Candy Panda was very quiet. Now, he's a fairly quiet guy anyway, but when he was sitting there saying, well done, guys, well done, that was introspective talk going into game 5, the deciding match of who earns a spot in the LCS.
It all comes down to this, the nerves to be shaken off for Game 5. Looks like we are on to the Rift and about to get this Game 5 underway. It is going to be SHC versus SK Gaming. These two are looking to grab a spot in the spring LCS season.
2014 spot on the line. And it all comes down to this. Effectively, a best of one at the end of 4 games. And we'll have to see who's adjusted. I think the biggest change in the compositions this time around is Impala's jungler. You know, he ran Elise in the previous games, but didn't necessarily have strong ganks early on. He was responding to Svenskeren. And I think Impala needs to have a bigger impact if he wants to get Super Hot Crew snowballing and rolling.
All ward trinkets coming out and all waiting to be used. It looks like human wards for now on the line of scrimmage. They get an idea on Svenskeren.
Yeah, the level 1 fan, again. With this much on the line, Super Hot Crew, they haven't even grouped up to go for that sort of Wraith Camp ward that they have done 2 or 3 games of the series. You do not want to give anything away. And Mixer, you highlighted it in Champ Select. He went 2 elixirs in games 3 and games 4, lost both of those lanes, even though his presence was good. He's gone for another elixir this time around. And I think Candypan and Nif are prepared for it because they've seen it 2 games in a row. And I imagine that with the Leona in there, it could actually backfire if they lock him down, you know, and Candypan gets some good auto attacks down.
Could try to bait out that first blood with it and make it look good. Last time, he kind of used it irregularly when he had the red buff, or the red pot on Thresh. He walked into the bush, he used it after a big engage, and it really didn't come out to help them at all.
Yeah.
Going down after that. It's like a regular setup. No invasions are going to come out, even after non-deep, or not even after, but just the regular wards going on.
Slight difference in the starts here for the junglers. Svenskeren, obviously being mana-based, going to get a little bit of assistance on that blue buff and gets a very good leash. Whereas Impala on the other side, playing Lee Sin, he's gone for that red buff. I also like the adaptation here from Nif, almost anticipating the Thresh. If he gets hooked as Leona, he's almost a little happier. We do see
Migs already throwing it down. He's trying to get that aggression. He throws the red pot on, and it's going to be the auto attacks already to push them back. So a little bit more effective this time, but can they hold it? Because this is now going to just be farming. Yeah,
Candypan is going to be a little bit more aware of those. He can't afford to get caught again. If they can stall for the pot to wear off, then obviously SK are going to be in a much stronger position, but they cannot afford to get caught. And again, Mixer going for the pot on level 1. I really feel like if he waits to get Flay and Death Sentence, the potential for kills is so much higher.
We'll see what he can do. It doesn't cost them the game, but so far it hasn't exactly helped them out all too much. Impaler taking down the blue buff, and he may be towards this bottom lane. We are going to see Svens go back towards mid and help out that mid lane, and a little bit more kill potential coming from the lanes as well. It's not slows on slows. There's some crowd control coming in.
Yeah, and some good damage backing it up.
Right.
You can see Impaler immediately. He's got a faster clear here than Svenskeren. He's got his red buff and his blue buff, and he's made it down to this bottom lane. But the problem is the wave is so pushed, so they're going to have to try to do a dive if they want to go for it now, and I'm not sure that's the wisest decision against the Leona.
At the turret, Will, so he does. They say, hang on. If you can hold your breath for a little bit longer, I will be to the bottom lane. It looks like they waste some good time of Impalers here. He's going to head back off into his jungle. Gold still sits at even, as everybody's quite even on CS.
And as Impaler backs off, Svenskeren fills the slot. He's a little bit late, but of course the wave was very pushed. And I'm not really expecting him to go in here. He's sitting at the tower, is level 4, so does have all of his abilities available to him. A little bit of indecisiveness. You can see that he wants to go bottom, but he's like, I don't want to hang around here because it's not guaranteed.
Just trying to figure out who's going to play the aggression. Migza and Hayda always trying to pressure that bottom lane. Mimer, Freddy, these guys are going to be up here for a while. Once again, going out for the fight. Probably see them up to 80 farm before they really try to get in each other's face and get those items under their belt.
Yeah, and same situation that we've seen in previous games. Shyvana's going to have the advantage in the early levels. Dr. Mundo's going to outscale and be able to survive and trade back and forth. We'll most likely see, you know, Sunfire Cape, Spirit Visage from both of them as the opening items. But I think that Svenskeren's going to have to start looking to the top lane a little more. There's already a 10 CS difference, and they cannot afford to let Mimer go on a roll. Mimer almost getting the pentakill in game 1.
Yeah.
His Shyvana was terrifying, but it was because he had the ability to go for Blade of the Ruined King as his first item and then build tankiness. So if you can force him to go all tank, the kill threat is significantly reduced.
Yeah, there were champions picked that have not been played in the rest of the games. We saw the Zed coming in. Nobody really wanted to bring that back out. A lot was learned by these teams and taken into consideration within that first game. And things have been changing from game to game on each one of these matchups. Right now, we're seeing Leona for the first time in this matchup. Lee Sin as well. So we're going to have to see how these champions are utilized.
Yeah, and the key right now is just that it's a very slow start. We're not even seeing Mixer and Hadel. That red pot has worn off on Mixer in the bottom lane, and he didn't go for any more hooks. And even if he did, they didn't connect. So very different from game 3. And Candy Panda and Nif just biding their time, trying to level up, trying to just get to a little bit more powerful. I think once they hit 6, the all-in potential for Candy Panda and Nif is going to be much higher than that of Hadel and Mixer. Hadel needs to land poke before he's got the possibility to burst somebody down.
Again, interesting aggression here from Impaler coming down towards the bottom lane. Haven't seen anything from Svenskeren yet as well. And you can see that this game really, the pace is dictated by the result. It's not really who's playing aggressive. Neither of these teams want to lose, and you can see that right now in their play.
You can't get countered, or you can't make a bad call if you don't make any calls.
Exactly.
And I think they're playing it very safely. I also feel like Impaler's gank sense is not quite Peter Parker levels, because he's been in this bottom lane twice now. There is a good flay, and we'll see if Nif's in trouble.
Yep. A good attempt. They were trying to do what they have been, just a minion wave there. Not much you can do.
Yeah, and to just, explain a little more what I was trying to say is that while Impaler's trying to come to these lanes and trying to gank, he's almost anticipating Svenskeren ganks, which are not coming, number one. And number two, he's doing it while his team is pushing under a tower. So he's wasting time, in the attempts. They did manage to get a little bit of damage on Nif, but no summoner spells were blown, with the exception of Mixer's Ignite. He used his offensive summoner for 0 return.
We'll see where their movement goes. It looks like actually power in numbers here for SHC. A little bit of roam coming in. They decide against it with the wards going down. The teleport's coming back into the top lane, so Mimer's not going to be able to get too much of a push on. We are 7.5 minutes in, so there's no real threat of Dragon being forced out of that teleport. So everybody back to the lanes, back to slowing things down.
Yeah, so Spectre's Cull is the first pickup here from Freddy. A little bit more afraid of the mixed damage from Shyvana. That burnout really making his life difficult, but the CS numbers sitting close, still sitting 7-8, so he's keeping up. He's not being pushed away, but the fact that he's had to back and teleport is already a bad sign. The fact that Mimer's been able to shove him down, that Freddy felt, hey, I've got to leave now, go spend my money and then come back. The Spectres is going to, of course, help him sustain lane a little bit, but it's not something that you ideally want to see.
Right. So we're 8 minutes in on this one. Moop's going over to get his blue buff in. We'll see what Mimer can continue to do in the top lane. He will finally back for his first purchase. Moop picking up blue. And it looks like he's going to get some control. Where are you going? Oh, he's just setting up wards. Jesus loves the ward. This guy always has at least 2 wards out.
Yeah, it's a good policy to have, and even more so when you're playing against a Lee Sin that has that ability to get in your face and get involved. Approaching 8.5 minutes, and you can really feel the tension building in the game right now as both teams are just trying to find a small chink in one another's armor. There is going to be a 3v3, and there's the engage!
Solar Flare coming down to the scene and played right on top. Are we going to have the first blood? Yes, it is. 9 minutes into the game, it comes into the hands of Svenskeren, and they will continue flashing after the arcane shift. Hadale is forced out of the fight, and the tension was indeed building. Quick shot.
Absolutely brilliant play there, not waiting. Nif throws down the Solar Flare, catches 3 members of SHC, and there was even a Ziggs ultimate coming in for good measure. Thanks to the kills they've secured, plus having Elise and her Spiderlings to tank Dragon, it's going to allow SK to get the kills and a Dragon at 9 minutes 20 and stamp an early authoritative move on the game.
And that really couldn't have happened any better. Your Mundo used teleport to get back top lane, and you're kind of still safe on that situation. Don't need him. Saving the turret.
And the kill that Candy Panda secured gave him red buff as well. So not only does he have that kill in his back pocket, he now has red buff to make Hadal and Mix's life even more difficult. The range on that switcheroo is going to allow him to apply the red buff stacks really well. As Jesus has caught Impaler.
That is explosive to say the least, and quickly canceled out there by Svenskeren with his last bit of mana.
And I think all he was trying to do was ward. You know, at the time, Mima
Warding
was
is dangerous.
around the blue buff area. Mima went down to get a blue buff ward, and it looked like Impala was trying to get in there. But just a good read from Jesus. He was chilling. Come on, come on, I can do it, I can do it. And this time round, they get the kill.
So for 9 minutes, we saw nothing. And in 1 minute, we saw 3 kills instantly. 15,700 gold to 13,200 SK, taking a bit of the driver's seat here. They had it from last game. Another Zenith played consecutively now as it comes up onto the traps, putting death sentences in. They could turn this one around very nicely. Candy Panda very low, and they do. Back into the bush, denies vision. A very great play by Migza, knowing they could go offensive even though they were aggressed on.
Yeah, I couldn't burst down Thresh. His shield was too high, plus the additional HP from Ruby Crystal. And that is the reason you never focus the support. If you can insta-give them, I can almost let it slide. But there is a big shield there to burn through. And, you know, as your first move, I guess I didn't want to run the risk of having Haydel, you know, arcane shift away. And immediately that lead is slightly mitigated. Of course, the kill did go to Mixer, so luckily no gold sitting in Ezreal's pocket.
It'll be a little bit of the knock, or a little knock on their confidence in that one. They were kind of getting a little ahead of themselves, so they can see that things can still go wrong, which is also a good thing, because now they won't make the mistakes again.
You've also got to give props to Mixer. He landed a good death sentence there as well. So that's going to interrupt the number of auto attacks that can go down, and that makes your life a little bit better there. So very good reactionary play from him. Bottom lane is even at 1-1. Svenskeren is nowhere near this top lane, but Impala is. And we see Impala moving in, maybe trying to jump on Freddy.
And this really doesn't have too much of an effect, but they are doing it more to try and just harass a little bit, figure out if it is going to work. Usually they're ending up backing off like they did this time, but it's more than it has been.
Svenskeren has to visit that top lane more because Mima has already got that Bilgewater Cutlass completed. He's not had any pressure from a jungler. He's not really feeling the onus that Freddy's getting in his face. And I think that if Mima gets to complete his Blazing King plus Spirit Visage or Sunfire Cape, I don't know if Candy Pan is going to be able to deal with him. I don't know if Candy Pan is going to be able to survive that sort of damage and that Shyvana getting in his face.
That's all they did that first game. Got the quadra kill on Shyvana, just getting to the back line, making Candy Panda run. And Candy was on Sivir that game, and he still couldn't get away. So Mimer knows what to do on Shyvana. You're absolutely correct. As they come up on 19,000 gold, they're starting to spread that lead a little bit more. 2K in their favor. That's not huge items in the inventories of anybody, but it is what they need to win their lanes, which is what's been leading into that mid to late game win.
A very good red buff steal there from Svenskeren. A little bit of help from Jesus, just making sure that he counter jungle safely. And look at this, junglers both getting involved in the mid lane. Ganks coming in, Moops is in trouble.
Oh, there's the gap closer. Flashes the cocoon, playing it very safe, tries to throw it in. Impaler just on the outside, and Nif as well, a little too far behind to help.
Yeah, Nif was roaming up from the bottom lane, really sort of anticipating that fight to break out. And look at all the vision. Look at the number of wards there. I count 1, 2, 3, 4. There are 7 SK wards in the map in comparison to 5 wards sitting for Super Hot Crew. They really do not want to get surprised. They don't want to get jumped on without being well aware of the situation and what options they have available to them.
Nif still trying to roam. He did the same thing when he played Karma, just a little less speed between the lanes, and he wasn't able to get there in time. We'll see if he does it again. They are trying to hold leads in every lane. They don't try to aggress onto this, but they do have the ward for it. So good vision coming down. Nothing going to come of it just yet. Looking at the items in the inventories and the CS, it's still all very, very close in that aspect.
Even though the score is currently 3-1 in kills, you feel like the lanes are still pretty even.
Yeah.
You know, AD carries and support are not necessarily one side as they jump on Mixer.
There it is. Once again, the Zenith Blade after Solar Flare. The bomb's coming in from the side, and everybody gets a piece of that one. Haydale's going to be pushed out of lane here, but Svenskeren doesn't make it easy for him.
Wow, Svenskeren maybe even want to dive this one.
He throws down the barrier. Wow, so tried and true to go for the kill. One last auto attack. The red buff keeps him in range, and Svenskeren had to reconsider that one. Uh-oh, does he have the repel coming up? Oh my gosh, he's able, no, he just gets taken down, but he goes down valiantly, and it's Nif that's able to pick up the kill. Yeah, he ignited him. He wasn't letting him get away.
Ignite lands that last tick of damage. Nif now gets the red buff. That's going to allow the tower to be secured here for SK Gaming, but Great play from Sven Skjæren. Tower diving to pick that up, and that allowed that passage of play to happen. I don't think giving away the kill was as bad because they were able to secure the tower as well. But Mima is dirty farming again, or whatever you want to call it, farming between towers. And this is what made him so scary in game one. SK have not even tried to deal with it yet.
It's really creating problems right now. The teleport is up. Dragon is coming up as well in 1 second on this game. So we have to see where Mima is. Mimer's still at that top turret. Could potentially take it down if we have the teleport. But SK didn't need the teleport last time. They were able to take it by themselves without top lane.
They won it basically themselves. Now, Super Hot Crew, they've started the Dragon off, and they've done this in previous games to their detriment. You know, kicking it off without having control of the area, without necessarily being grouped tightly enough. SK are stood right on top of a ward, so Super Hot Crew are aware of their position, and Jez is not as sneaky as he thinks he might be. And as you said, teleport available for Freddy. Mima's making his way down to the bottom lane, and it looks like the standoff fizzles as everyone backs away from Dragon.
We see Mima picking up his Blade of the Rune King. They're heading down for Dragon, so they're waiting for all the reinforcements here. It's going to be interesting if SHC uses their ultimates before knowing where all of SK is. This could be bad, and they could be kited out of this.
Teleport's coming in already. Let's see what Freddy can do.
That's what RNA was saying. Once Mundo's in the fight, it's already going to be a bad situation. One goes down already. That's going to be Moops. They look for another one, and it's going to be Impaler going down, and the health bars continue to bleed out. Migs is the last one. He will be falling to the rocket. The double kill is everybody gets excited that's an SK fan, and the double kill as well for Sven Skjæren.
That's an ace for SK Gaming. Moops was killed before he could cast his shockwave. The shockwave was mid-animation as the last tick of damage applied, and he died before it went off. I don't know if that was the right call for Super Hot Crew, because Mima only has a Negatron cloak. He picked the fight with no tankiness. He was relying on Shyvana's base stats. Pay very careful attention to Moops here. He gets stun-locked, rooted, stunned, and you see the animation starting.
Fizzled.
But it just fizzled because he died. He wasn't able to finish it up. And just very good cleanup play. Get Excited allows Candy Panda to chase absolutely everybody down. And SK with a brilliant fight. 2 kills for Elise, 2 kills sitting there for Candy Panda on Jinx. And you have to feel now, 8,000 gold, 11 kills to 2. SK are once again in the driver's seat.
They are very much in the driver's seat, and all they need to do is the same exact thing to take back that LCS spot. Just continue to do this. They can play it careful, like you said. They possibly and may scale better into the game as they have that Mundo going on. And we've seen the Mundo versus the Shyvana every time. It's that Mundo.
Yeah, exactly. The Mundo really allowed them to clean up, and I actually think the itemization from Mima is a little bit questionable here.
Again.
Another red buff steal from
Sven
Skjæren. Nobody from Super Hot Crew really there to contest it. And I just wondered to myself if Shyvana maybe could have run more disruption, but fact of the matter is that, you know, Super Hot Crew, they just got chunked down. Focused Orianna. Oh! Mega Inferno Bomb. Mega Inferno Bomb's coming down!
Oh, no! He stopped!
Oh, no. My word!
I shouldn't laugh at that.
Haydel stopped. Window shopping kills, ladies and gentlemen. I know it's Christmas season and you're buying gifts, but window shopping kills.
Really though, by that point, it's like 8 seconds to walk back to base once you're at the inhibitor anyways.
That didn't work out in his favor at all, and Jez is with long-range snipe. Now, the 3-1-1 split is coming up from SK. They've done this a couple of times already. Candy Panda just really likes to, you know, push the lanes, but he does have the support of both Nif and, of course, Sven Skjæren there, as now they want to go to steal the blue buff. And look at the wards. Look at the amount of vision that SK has on this map. It's complete control.
Looks like they have more turrets just kind of hanging out in the forest here, in the jungle rather. Moves going back into the jungle. Migza forced to back, but these guys are trying to spend what money they have to continue scaling themselves. And you can see for Migza, it was only a cloth armor. They're just trying to stay alive right now.
Yeah, cloth armor and ruby sightstone in comparison to a sightstone, chain vest, and a giant's belt for Nif. You know, in conjunction to all of the additional stats that he gets from his W, it's a very good position to be in. SK secure the 3rd tower of the game. They're not going to let up because there's no one from Super Hot Crew around. they're going to be able to challenge for a second tower uncontested, basically.
They're just crushing down these turrets. The True Shot Barrage at this point not even holding enough power to come out because he's relying on that burst damage. Mundo Ultimate comes out, and for sure he's going to be able to just come back to this fight.
Yeah, Mima did very well there. He's still able to 1v1 Freddy, but he's not strong enough to survive Jez's and Candy Panda's damage.
Right. Candy Panda backing up on this one just to grab the red buff, which means everybody is going to slow it down. The 80 carries off and running, picked up as well, get everybody bolstered up with those resources. They really aren't going to buy too much more right now. That's going to change the fact of the game because they're already ahead. Everything's just going to be adding on to that. It's really in SHC to mitigate what's happening.
10,000 gold difference in 20 minutes. They are generating 500 gold per minute more than Super Hot Crew, and now Impaler's going to get caught. Nif may dive on this immediately, decides against it, realizing there were numbers missing, and of course, Jesus wasn't there either. But again, 3 members of SK in the top lane, 1 mid, 1 bottom lane. SK are trying to play the map here and get the maximum advantage they can.
And I think that was a good hold off. The majority of their wards are in the bottom lane, so that was a little blind for them. They get the turret out of it, 3 people surrounding, gonna soak up that golden experience. 20 minutes into this game, and it only gets more definitive from SK.
5 towers without reply. Without a single reply from Super Hot Crew. And I really have to question the red pot starts again for Mixer. You know, you've seen the same thing 3 times in a row. Oh, they've gone in!
Mixer gets hit up hard. Oh, the crowd control is consecutively stacked nicely, and they are able to actually flash out of that. He gets a good hook. Can they turn this around? Mimer coming in is able to pick himself up a kill in the janitor cleanup there, but everybody gets an assist, and that's a shutdown on Svenskeren.
Yeah, very big kill coming in, so that's very good for Super Hot Crew, but they're gonna need a whole lot more of those if they want to turn this around. The Shockwave got dodged by Repel, Svenskeren got away from it, and it only caught Nif. But, you know, when you're defending, when you're doing that panicky ultimate, that's basically what's going to happen. You can actually see a great replay of this right now. The only people that are engaged in this right now is Nif and Svenskeren. And the Shockwave only catches Nif because Svenskeren was flying through the air. You actually see the quasi-globals coming in there, of course, the Mega Inferno Bomb and the Super Mega Death Rocket. But it didn't connect the low health. So yeah, there's lots of death in their epic long-range ultimates.
All right, we'll see if this turret will be going down. Mimer getting a bit of gold for himself. A little bit of control over the top lane here. The teleport still available for Freddy. Every fight he's been in is a walk-to fight. So that is just big plays they can create if they need to.
Yeah, and from that previous fight, I feel like Nif has taken it personally that Mixer was annoying him so much in the previous games. Because throughout this game, Nif is just throwing himself at Thresh, just lunging, solar flares, zenith blades, just like, I want to kill Mixer. That's the signal they're sending out. I think they need to play a little bit more patiently. That dive in the jungle of Super Hot Crew was not necessary. You got a 10,000 gold lead. Group up, push towers, or split push. Don't throw yourself into blind dives just because you're in a strong position, you know? And I think they realize that, which is why now they're grouping up to try and challenge some of these objectives, like Dragon, for example.
Coming up on 25 minutes in the game. Freddy not having too much trouble up top, and 4 position themselves in middle. They disperse now from SK, and it looks like they're going to try to create something that will be useful later in the jungle. A lot of wards being placed out, as we call that security system they're going to use later.
They're trying to make a Christmas tree and get all of the blinking lights being wards in the minimap. The one thing we did see, though, was blue pings on the Baron pit, and you can see with the immense ring of vision they now have, knowing they've got 2 sweeper lenses, they're clearing wards out, and they're putting pinks down. SK wants to pull Super Hot Crew towards them. Jesus is in trouble. They have jumped onto Moops.
There's again, oh my gosh, so much damage onto Moops. So much crowd control. They can't even react. Still into the fight. Freddy finds himself in. This is again a fight without teleport. They are just ready to engage. Going in, they get another kill onto Migza. Finds himself down. Kill death timers are now about 30 seconds. So it doesn't leave them with much, but we'll see what they can do with it.
24 minutes. They've got all the vision they wanted for Baron. They wanted to play the game. They wanted to pull Super Hot Crew towards them. Force them to check the pits. Now there's a bit of trouble as Impaler's close by, but I don't think he's going to be able to steal us away. Look at the body blocking.
Body blocking indeed, but when you're this far behind, what's the chances of not going in? He gets too close to the fire and it burns him. They try with everything they have and all their might, but it's not enough. The ace could be coming in if anybody else approaches this fight, and Mimer very much so hightails it out of this one. Keeps himself safe. for now.
Baron secured, got a little dicey there. The True Shot Barrage almost dealing enough damage to secure it. Jesus is now going to try 1v1 Mimer.
Mimer in the I think I can mentality. This is where you try to grab those kills, but the team knows you're going to do it. You're not inside their head. They're inside yours.
Yeah, definitely. And SK are just, they're playing this perfectly now. You know, they realize the advantage they have. They're playing to their advantage. They're playing to their strengths. And there's nothing Super Hot Crew can do. 16,000 gold difference. This is just the insta-gib on Impaler. I mean, this is poke while trying to get in range.
431.
Super Mega Death Ronic plus one more auto attack. And that's what I'm talking about. That True Shot Barrage got a little close. A little bit dicey as SK just flash over the wall, clean up the fights. And 16,000 gold, 25 minutes with Baron. I think we're looking at our 7th League of Legends series team for next year.
Possibly. They don't have too much more to go through. We have seen 6 turrets on the map drop, 11 stand for a team, so they have those 5 to go, and not all of them need to be taken down just to pass to the Nexus turrets, and it's your victory. And at 16,000 of a gold lead, that could be only a few fights from now.
It's an immense amount. If we actually take a look at the difference between the champions of how much gold they've accrued, you know, between the top laners and the bot laners, it's sitting like 2,000 in the top lane, 4,000 in the jungle. 4,000 gold difference in the jungle, 3,000 mid lane. That is massive, massive. That is full, like, tier 3 item differences, and it's nearly insurmountable right now.
So what has it been then? Why the huge turnaround from SK? Was it the chances they took, or did they actually capitalize on knowing what was going to happen, as we were saying?
The team fights, and I think the first ace in and around the Dragon Pit. It's just making the decisions to go in, and right now they're trying to fight.
A huge lockup. Chaos is going to happen on this one. The death sentence goes in, but Jez is dropped 2 in the blink of an eye. They continue on. 40-second death timers sit there for the chambers. It's going to be the first inhibitor turret of the game. Turret number 7 falls with the inhibitor just behind it, and man, they're going for Nexus turrets.
That was 10 minutes late. Super Hot Crew throw themselves at SK Gaming, and they didn't make it work.
The Nexus going down in 500 HP. SK solidifies, holds, and puts themselves back into the LCS.
The 7th place team from the summer split re-qualifies as the 7th team in the 2014 League of Legends Championship Series.
They said it at the analyst desks. Those 0-2 comebacks, you've seen them before, and they just poured out their heart and soul against an SHC that did the exact same thing.
Broken faces on the sides of Super Hot Crew.
Amazing play coming in.
Loss.
A team put together quite, not recently, but changes. We've said there were so many. 1, 2, 3 to the top lane, a few in the mid lane, here and there for the jungler. That's a lot to work with, and they did a fantastic job with what.
I'm gonna be frank. We've seen 2 SK Gaming teams today. We've seen an amateur team in games 1 and 2, and we've seen an LCS team in games 3, 4, and 5. And SK are gonna need to find a way to stabilize their performances, because when they do, my word, do they hit strong. Svenskera in this series is probably my man of the match. I feel like he had such a big impact. He set up Candy Panda so often in the early stages of the game that then allowed Candy Panda to just tear everybody apart in the later stages.
And we have to remember, going into the LCS, games are a best of 1, so you need to bring it in that first game every time, and that's something that plays on these teams' minds a lot. A lot of teams think they are better in the best of 3 because of the situation, the way they assess things, and the fact that best of 3s were the way it's been done for quite some time.
Yeah, you get teams that are better in series.
Yes.
You get teams where their strengths are the ability to adapt, to learn, to adjust their play styles. And you have to have that strength as well as the ability to show up in game 1.
Right.
You know, yesterday, Copenhagen Wolves dropped game 1. They were all over the place, and they got better and better as the series went on, much like SK. I mean, their first win was okay. Second win, decisive. Third win, there was not even a chance Super Hot Crew could get into that. And I think they just need to find a way to channel that level of play more consistently on point.
And so SK played very strong, but what would have happened in the game that they did get Mundo, they did get Shyvana? Would the results been the same? Do you think SHC would have been able to grab back some momentum, or just was it SK was in the driver's seat too much by then?
I think the problems with SK's game, the reason they lost games 1 and 2 was their decision making. I feel like their composition had strengths. I feel like they could have won those games. On Champions alone, Season 4 meta,
right.
2013 meta, whatever the story is, the decision making was my problem. If you go back and review those VODs of games 1 and 2, game 1 in particular, SK didn't do much.
Right.
You know, they let Super Hot Crew control it, and then as the series
we saw
went
them
on,
trying to do much, but they didn't.
Yeah, they sort of went, hey, we kind of want to do something. Game 2 is like, hey, we want to do this. We want to fight blue. We want to fight blue again. We want to fight blue again. And like, well, we need a different gimmick because it backfired because Super Hot Crew sort of just outplayed them in those instances.
So seeing the changes come in, Jazz is playing very well. It took a little bit for him to find Zig, so obviously going to have to look for that for him in the LCS. A lot of the champions played today are seeing tweaks. Do you think this is going to hurt a lot of people going into the LCS?
I think there's going to be the adjustment period. I think, watching these games, when it starts, it's going to be like, well, ban Ziggs against Jazz. That's number one. Maybe take Orion away. I know he plays a very strong Neely, and I think his Gragas needs a little bit of work because his DreamHack was a little bit iffy sometimes. Okay. But I think that also just comes from like the mentality of I can go in and I can make a play and make it work.
All right, well, we are ready. Let's send it down to the stage where